CCTV's Sean Callebs is live in Philadelphia with more. Sean?
Rochelle, you're exactly right. This is a city that relishes its historic time in the U.S. spotlight. And this marks the 12th time that Philadelphia has hosted a national convention. And while the Democratic National Convention may have gotten off to a raucous, rocky start, Philadelphia is once again looking at this as a time to shine.
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Its place long secure in United States history with the Liberty Bell, the old Pennsylvania State House, and with legions of Democrats streaming into the city, the site of its 12th national political convention.
McKinley was nominated for the presidency. He did not have a vice president.
At the storied foundation of the Union League, visitors are flocking to a display recognizing all the conventions that came before 2016. Philadelphia native Ron Rothman is a volunteer at the Democratic National Convention, and that means getting up to speed on the city's history.
And the fact that we actually had 3 conventions in the same year from 3 different parties was actually quite impressive.
It happened in 1948. Democrats, Republicans, and the left-leaning Progressive Party, the one year they had a presidential candidate. And it happened during a very hot summer, before Philly buildings had air conditioning.
They tried to cool off the building with big blocks of ice and fans. Didn't work, and because of the debacle, we did not hold another convention here for 52 years.
But 1948 did have its signature moment. Senator Hubert Humphrey from Minnesota delivered a historic speech imploring delegates to get out of the shadow of states' rights and walk into the bright sunshine of human rights. It was the party's first venture into civil rights.
But that's the turning moment in the Democratic Party. That's when the Democratic Party became the party of the 20th and then the 21st century.
Jim Mundy is responsible for gathering all the pieces of history over the years. His most prized is from 1848, the only known replica of what the Washington Monument was supposed to look like. But the Civil War and a lack of funding put an end to this grand plan. By the way, the last convention here was in 2000. The Republicans nominated George W. Bush. And although he lost the popular vote, he did go on to be the 43rd president of the United States.
And people in the United States and around the world no doubt remember that was the U.S. presidential race that didn't seem as though it was going to end. It dragged on for 40 days before the U.S. Supreme Court eventually stepped in and declared George W. Bush the winner. What they are hoping for here is a very smooth nomination process, moving towards a November election. One thing that's interesting, Rochelle, in recent years, these conventions have really lacked news, but that is certainly not the case here in Philadelphia, as well as the one last week in Cleveland.
Indeed. Now, some big names are also expected to take the stage tonight, including First Lady Michelle Obama and, of course, Bernie Sanders. So what are we expecting to hear from them?
This is going to be very important. These primetime slots are considered. This is when you bring out the whole rock star type persona. What we expect to hear from the First Lady is, in essence, a very literal, perhaps, passing of the mantle from her husband's administration on to Hillary Clinton as she tries to become the first woman ever elected U.S. president. But even more important to the political process here in the United States is what Bernie Sanders is going to say, and more importantly, how his supporters will embrace this information. There was a horrible, embarrassing email gaffe that played out this weekend that showed the Democratic National Committee basically working in conjunction with the Clinton campaign to discredit Bernie Sanders and his followers. Sanders, for his part, has taken the high road and said it didn't shock him, but he demanded the resignation of the DNC chairwoman, and she stepped down. The Democratic Party is trying to put that behind them, but Bernie Sanders supporters are very upset. They protested yesterday, they protested today, they're scheduled to protest tomorrow, so any talk of having a completely unified convention went out the window this weekend. Rochelle?
Certainly no lack of drama at these conventions. Thank you very much, Sean Callebs. They're live from Philadelphia.
If you like what you just saw, follow us on social media and visit our website, cctv-america.com.